Hello, this is Greg from Sensics. Today I'll be covering getting started with the OSVR Unity plugin. This example project I have open now is the OSVR Unity Palace demo, and you can grab the source from GitHub from this URL. And the Palace demo is just a simple example project that uses the latest OSVR Unity plugin. If you want the source, you can clone that with Git or download it from this link here. If you just want an executable, you can click on the Releases tab and you can download the executable here at the bottom of each section. If you don't have the latest OSVR Unity plugin, I recommend getting that from this URL here. And you'll want to grab the build that's at the top of the list here. Alternatively, you could get it from the Unity Asset Store, but potentially that could be slightly behind the latest version here due to the manual Unity package update approval process, whereas this build, this list here is generated automatically anytime there's a change to the project. So going back to Unity, I'm actually going to start out. And if you've imported the project, so I've imported the plugin already. If you haven't done that, you extract the download from the link from the page we were just on, and we drag and drop the Unity package into the assets folder. I've already done that, so I'll skip that step. But once that's been imported, you'll see this OSVR button up in the menu at the top of Unity. And I'm actually going to start by opening the OSVR utilities window. Now this just gives us a bunch of shortcuts to the utilities that can be found in the OSVR Runtime or SDK install directory. And it just makes things a little more convenient for Unity developers. We can select config files, launch a server from within the editor, launch OSVR Central, which I already have open, which is actually a very similar utility to what the editor window provides here, but it's basically a bunch of shortcuts to examples and utilities that are already installed in the SDK, all for convenience. You'll see we can launch the OSVR configurator, which lets you build config files and change config files. You can launch tracker view, which shows us if devices are connected. OSVR print tree does the same thing, but it prints those connected devices. And we have a launcher for recentering the HMD. We can enable and disable direct mode. We can debug direct mode to see if we have a system that supports direct mode. And then a bunch of links to documentation and installers. It's important to note that anytime you're using OSVR, you'll need to be running an OSVR server. And that server should be configured for whatever hardware you have. So I have the HTK2 connected right now. So I'm going to select a config file that's appropriate for the HTK2, and I like to use this one here, which supports direct mode. I don't have a camera connected for positional tracking, so this is an orientation only configuration. So I'm going to select that, save and launch the server, and I'm just going to leave this minimized. If I launch OSVR tracker view, you'll see that it looks like everything's working. If you take a look at the scene before I hit play, this client kit prefab always has to be in the scene in order to communicate with the OSVR server. You can give it any name as an app ID, but anytime you're using OSVR, in addition to having the server running, you also need to have this client kit object. So once everything's connected, you can press play, and the screen, the game view went dark, but if I click on the player, you can see that head tracking is enabled. The game view is dark because the mirror mode is not on, but that's actually an option on this VR display tracked object. So if I click on Show Direct Mode Preview, you'll see what's on the display. Now if you see an impact in performance, then I'd recommend turning this off. It shouldn't matter in a simple example like this one, but it may on lower end machines, or certainly in more complex scenes. So this is kind of a temporary feature here, this checkbox. Eventually direct mode preview should become a server config setting, but for now it's implemented in Unity. If I jump to the client kit object again, you can also see there's an option for starting the server automatically, which is another option that again will be an implemented feature in the OSVR server config file rather than in Unity. But for here, there's an auto start server option, kind of as a failsafe, to make sure that a server is running if it wasn't at the time that you press play or the game starts. So that's basically it. You've got the client kit, you've got either a VR first-person controller prefab. If I open up the OSVR Unity prefabs directory, we've got a bunch of interfaces for different types of devices. But for HMDs, we're going to use VR display tracked or VR first-person controller if we want first-person controls. And you can see I can walk around the scene here with this prefab. VR display tracked is just orientation only with no controls attached to it. If we look deeper in the OSVR Unity folder, we'll find some examples. Take some time to check it out. I won't cover all of them in this video, but there's examples for imaging, for getting data from a camera. There's examples for getting, dealing with the controllers, tracked controllers. So all the basics are here to get started with OSVR Unity. And I hope you found this video helpful.